Hey, Divine Ones, it's Jerome Braggs again, and I'm going live this Saturday afternoon, at least it's the afternoon where I am in this part of the world, to chat with you all, to do just a brief video where I can answer some of your questions. I know several of you all have been sending me questions through email, through inbox in my Facebook page, through comments and all of that. And I haven't been able to answer them in this last few weeks because I've had a lot going on personally as well as in my business. So I wanted to take some time out and answer some of those, especially for some of you all out there. Hey, everyone that's joining on. So for this particular video, I'm going to answer your questions on life, healing, manifestation, or on the soul. Again, this is not readings. I'm not doing readings, so no personal reading questions. But any like general questions you have about that, any of those topics, you can put them in the comments on this video, and I'll try to answer them if I have time. But I want to start with 4 questions I've received already from you all. I've written the questions down. They're on this piece of paper. I'm going to read them out and answer those questions, and then I'll be taking questions from you all watching. So any of you all who are attending, first of all, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. And then if you have any questions on those topics, on life, on the soul, on manifestation, or on healing, please ask those questions in the comments, and I'll try to address those in the time. And again, just one more time, I'm not doing reading, so this is not a personal reading. So if you have those type of questions, you'll have to book a session because I'm not doing those type of readings on this particular video. I'm just answering your general questions around those topics. I'm going to try and do this about once a week so I can get your questions answered, because you all send me a lot of questions and I just don't have time to get around to all of them in one video. So I'm going to try to do this about once a week at least, and try to get there about once a week so I can answer your questions and interact with you live. So having said all of that, I'm going to read some of the questions I've gotten already and start to give you some of the answers. Some of the people that have submitted the questions wanted to be anonymous, so I'm not going to read their names out, but I will read the ones of the people that said they didn't mind or that they posted it in the public way. Okay? So the first question is, what advice can you give to maintain a high vibrational state? What advice can you maintain what advice can you give to maintain a high vibrational state? So here's the thing around vibration. Vibration is basically translates to how you emotionally feel, right? So how you emotionally feel. There's a lot of conversations out there around raising your vibration, like eating organic foods and going outside in nature and getting enough sleep and things like that. And while those things can help to raise your vibration, they're not a permanent kind of raise, right? They're very conditional and they're temporary. And so you have to do those things, and you may not be able to go out in nature every day, and you may not be able to, meditation is a great tool that I personally recommend to meditate every day, but that's also a tool that is very conditional. So a lot of times with meditation, you get into high vibration and you go out into the world, and a lot of times people can't hold the vibration that they attain in their meditation state in their daily living experience. So what I found, and what I tell my clients, and what I found from my own personal life and my own personal journey, what raises your vibration the most and what keeps it, unconditionally and more chronically at a high state of being is to heal the trauma you've experienced. Now, if you've been following me for a while, my definition of trauma is a little bit different than our Western definition. So the trauma is not what happened to you. It's it's how it made you feel inside. Right? And how you made you feel about yourself internally. So it's not what happened to you externally, but what happened to you internally, right? So what that event or what that experience made you feel. And it doesn't have to be that you were, you experience some type of tragic or horrific event like a rape or a some type of abuse or a loss of a limb or a disease or something like that. Is remember, trauma is anything that made you disconnect from your divine truth, from the truth about yourself, which is, and these are really the three truths that are at the core of trauma. That you're wholly good. So you're enough, you're worthy, and you're lovable unconditionally, all of you wholly, right? So any part of you that doesn't feel that way, that feels like there's something wrong with you somehow, that you're not enough somehow, that needs to be healed. And if you heal that, you will dramatically and drastically raise your vibration. The other part of trauma is that you believe that you're not safe somehow. Especially not safe. This world is not safe to be in, and especially not safe to be all of yourself, to express all of your being, whether that's your sexuality or your personality or how you look, how your body looks, or your intellect or something like that. If you can heal that, right? If you can come back into believing, one, that you're enough and that you're wholly good, two, that you're safe in the world. And that you can trust this world, and you can trust your life, that you can express all of yourself, and you start to express all of yourself, right? You start to bring all of yourself into the light. You be fully present. That dramatically raises your vibration. And that, when you have that belief that I'm safe in the world and it's safe to be myself and I'm enough, that dramatically raises and keeps your vibration high, right? So the things that lower our vibrations are the stories that we tell ourselves, right? The belief system that we hold that tell ourselves we're not enough, we're not safe, and then which is the third thing which is your divine truth, which all of your needs are going to be met. All of your needs and desires are met. So when you think that they're not, right, that's when you start to worry. That's when you start to get overwhelmed. That's when you start to stress, and that lowers your vibration. So when you start to believe all of my needs are met, I am held, the universe loves me, you start to relax and you start to trust that anytime your being relaxes, your vibration raises. So I would say do the work of healing your trauma. You can do that by working with someone like me. Like that's my work, is to reconnect you to your divine truth and heal that trauma. You can work with a therapist, a psychotherapist, who's skilled in that type of things. But when you work with a therapist, be very clear about what you're going in there for. You're going in there to heal the beliefs that you have, that you're not enough, that you're not safe, and that your needs will not be met. If you go to your therapist with that type of clarity, you will get the work done that will help you raise your vibration. You can see a hypnotherapist. Hypnotherapists do great work around shifting those beliefs and reconnecting you to the truth. EFT work sometimes does that. There are many different modalities and tools, but that's the real core. Heal your trauma. That will raise your vibration better than any green juice, than any yoga class, than any meditation. And those are all great tools, but they're very temporary. They have temporary results, and they have temporary effects that yield temporary results. And they also start another rat race, so that if the only way you can feel your vibration is high is to do yoga and to meditate, then you start to be very obsessive about those things, and you start to be addicted to those things. You can literally have addictions to meditation and yoga, where you're doing yoga several hours a day and you're meditating hours a day, and you're not living. You didn't come to this physical experience to spend in a cave meditating for 6 hours a day. And again, I meditate daily, so this is not against the meditation, right? I've been meditating now for almost 20 plus years. So meditation is a great tool, and I'm a champion of it. But these are tools that, if you don't do the real work, these things are to get you back, to help you try to connect back into your divine truth. So that's why, right? So do that. And I kind of went a little longer on this question than usual, but that's really what you want to do. If you want to really get into a higher vibrational state, and your vibration determines your reality, how you feel basically is how you live, right? It's what manifests. So, work on your emotions, work on feeling good internally, especially about yourself, feeling good enough, feeling like you're enough, feeling safe in the world and safe to express yourself, and like all of your needs are met, trusting in the universe, trusting in life. And there are many different ways you can do that. Again, working with someone like me, who's a healer or a medicine man or a coach or a therapist or something, but know that you're going in to work on those three things that I mentioned, and you will raise your vibration and you will keep it up more chronically, more habitually, right? More of the time, to where it's not just these little spurts up when things are going great out externally, but when they're not, you dip right back down. When you know that you're enough and that you're safe in this world and that your needs will be met, no matter what it looks like on the outside, you still feel good on the inside, right? And that's what your vibration is. No matter what's happening on the outside, I still feel good on the inside. So, okay, so that's question number one. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm answering questions and about life, healing, manifestation, or the soul. If you have a question, and remember, I'm not doing readings, I'm doing personal, just general questions about those topics. If you have a question about that topic, please put it in the comments and I'll try to answer it after I get through with these. So the second question is, how do we heal from the trauma of sudden death? Is it acceptance? So again, the question is, how do we heal from the trauma of sudden death? Is it acceptance? So if you've had a death or a loss in your life, one of the things that my honest and true suggestions and advice about that was to let yourself grieve the loss. A lot of times we suppress our emotions and we beat ourselves up by thinking we shouldn't feel this way. If it was a sudden death, especially if it was an unexpected death, which, sudden is the term for that. So it's unexpected. You weren't expecting it. It came out of left field for you. So you're experiencing some loss. You're experiencing some sadness. Let yourself grieve the totality of that, right? Feel the totality of that sadness. When I have lost and I'm feeling sad, I've had a lot of loss in my life. A lot. I've lost friends. I've lost a lot of family members. Some of them were sudden. Some of them were even murdered. I've had my own journey and my healing journey. I had to grieve some loss of my own my vision for my life, that I had at that time. And what I learned is when we try to suppress our sadness, that's when it doesn't go away. That's when it lingers. That's when it starts to metastasize into illness. That's when it turns into depression, right? And if you allow yourself to have sadness, so one thing I do when I'm feeling lost is I literally will give myself however much time I need. If I need to cry, if I need to go hang out with some friends and just be witnessed to crying, or be in safe spaces, whatever I need to do to grieve, I allow myself that space. Our emotions are supposed to come through us. And if they come through us, then they move through us in a way that keeps us healthy, and that can lead us to higher experiences of joy once they pass through. But if we suppress them, if we try and tell ourselves we shouldn't be feeling that way, or it's not spiritual to feel that way, or anything like that. Hey everybody, hey Candace, and hey Gayar3. I hope I'm Gar3. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Vera, I see all of you all. So I'm talking about grief. So grieve, allow yourself to grieve. That's how you get out of that trauma. And then when you allow yourself to feel what you feel, your spirit, and listen to the guidance that it's giving you. A lot of times when we have a loss, what we're telling ourselves is that, in that loss is that somehow our lives have been diminished because somehow we're not enough, or we don't have enough, or we'll never be happy, or we'll never know joy again because that person is gone. And that's actually not the truth, right? You can grieve the loss of the person. You can be sad. You can be sad that you won't be able to physically engage with them anymore, or maybe physically call them or touch them anymore. Let your heart grieve that sadness. There's a loss, and grieving loss is part of the human journey. Anytime there is significant loss in our lives, grieving that loss is healthy. It's a part of being human. But telling yourself that something about you is less than because of the loss is where the suffering comes in. Loss is pain, and that's where the crying and the sadness and everything comes in, and that's totally fine. But the suffering comes in when we tell ourselves that our lives will are now diminished somewhat somehow, are less worthy somehow, are less whole somehow because of that loss. And that's where, when you allow yourself to grieve, that's where you have to be careful and very mindful that your mind doesn't tip over into that. It's totally okay for this experience to feel like it sucks, for you to be very sad about that and to cry and to grieve. But just be careful about what you're telling yourself about yourself and about your life because of the loss. That's when it becomes traumatizing, right? So again, when we talk about trauma, the trauma is not the event that happens. It's not the loss. It's not the abuse. It's not the disease. It's not the accident or whatever the person said or the socialization that happened or the bullying or anything. It's not the event. And this is from the soul's perspective. From your soul's perspective, the trauma is not the event. The trauma is how that event made you feel internally. So it's not the external event, it's the internal event, right? And so it doesn't become traumatizing until it makes you feel less than, not enough somehow, like something's wrong with you somehow, something's wrong with your life somehow, or that you're not safe in the world, or that all of your needs won't be met somehow. So just be mindful that you don't tip over into that. You can grieve and let it pass all the way through. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to move to happy. Don't try to move to positive thinking too fast. Literally just allow yourself to grieve. Every emotion has a time. It will pass through and out, even joy. No emotion is supposed to stick in the body 24/7 for the rest of your life. It literally comes through, and when we honor it by feeling it, it will come through and it will pass through and make space for the next experience of our life. So do that. That's how you heal the trauma of a loss. You face it. You allow yourself to feel it, and you don't allow it to define who you are now. Okay, so third question is, how can I tell the difference between a sign or a figment of my imagination? It's a good one. How can I tell the difference between a sign or a figment of my imagination? So when you're getting a sign from the universe, right, you can always tell a sign by how it feels. Now, a lot of times, the universe is talking to you every day. Your soul is sending you a sign every single day. There are signs. Your guides, your loved ones on the other side. And I see some of you all's questions. So as soon as I answer these last two, this one and then the next one, I will get to your questions. So what happens with the soul is always sending signs. Your guides are always sending signs. Your loved ones on the other side are sending signs. The spiritual world and the divine is always trying to communicate with you because you are loved, and it is always trying to let you know that you're not alone and that you have help. And so, and you can tell that by how it feels. When you see a sign, does it make you feel expanded in some way or restricted in some way? Like when you're thinking about whether or not this is a sign, do you feel stressed? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel less than in some way? The soul, the divine is always going to lead you to your wholeness. And so any sign that you get is always going to be leading you some type of way through your wholeness. Now, it may lead you on the edge of your comfort zone, and that's usually how it works. But the sign is not going to make you feel less than. It's not going to make you feel stressed. It's not going to make you feel constricted, because that's not wholeness. Wholeness is an expansive energy. It is a relaxing energy. It's going to make you feel loved some type of way and held some type of way. So look at how it feels. Also, if you're unclear, you can always ask. This is an ask and it's given universe. You are a loved and beloved being of this universe. So if you need more clarity, you can ask for it. One of the things that I'm very, very well known for doing is asking the universe for a sign and making and asking at the same time that is very clear and it comes in a way that I cannot ignore and that I cannot deny. Right? So be very clear. Ask out. You could ask for a specific sign if you want. Sometimes I've worked with clients and had them, especially if they're talking to their guides or a loved one who's crossed over from the other side, and they want a specific sign, like let me know. I'd like to see a feather, or I'd like to see a particular, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I like to see a feather, or let me see a walnut on the edge of the street, or let me hear somebody mention your name today, or whatever that is, right? You can ask for something specific, but when you're asking for a sign from the universe, pay attention because it comes in many different ways. It will come in the environment, like something that is happening around you. It will come through it could come through a conversation that you have with somebody. Somebody might say something. It may be your mom or your sister. It may be your lover. It may be a coworker. Somebody will say something that has to do exactly with what you were asking about, and it will come kind of unexpectedly. You may see a billboard. I mean, sometimes it's visual, something that you see. Sometimes it's an animal that comes in. Pay attention. Like the sign is not going to be so obtuse, that you won't even understand. That there's no way that you can understand it. The divine loves you and it knows you, and it's going to bring something into your awareness that you can see and that you can pay attention to, but you have to be paying attention. If you ask for a sign, know that that sign is coming, and every day that you wake up, look for evidence of that sign and pay attention to what's showing up in your life, the conversations that are happening, what are people saying to you, what's happening in your environment. Just the other day, a friend of mine was talking, I was in the car with someone and they were talking to me about, they feel like their life is transforming and they were going through some experience, some very drastic and dramatic experience. And they were feeling, however, that somehow they weren't scared and that this experience was part of their transformation and that they were really about to fully become more of their divine selves through this, even though it looked scary on the outside. And a lot of people didn't believe it and a lot of people didn't understand it, but they kind of felt internally a little bit like, I don't think this is bad for me. I really think this is a good thing for me. And as they were talking, right in front of the car, a flock of butterflies flew in. And the butterflies are the metaphor for transformation, right? And so so he automatically knew that was his sign. He took it as he automatically knew when he started talking and he saw that that's my sign to go ahead with this and to know. So just pay attention. The universe is sending you signs. It's happening all the time. So that's how you can tell the difference between a sign and the figment of your imagination. Again, if it's also, the universe doesn't just send one sign. The universe will send several signs. If it's in a direction you're supposed to go, or especially if you ask for them, they'll come more than once. So, if it's a figment of your imagination, again, pay attention to how it feels. Excuse me. Pay attention to how it feels. Excuse me. And look and see if it's showing up more than once, or if more than one person is saying it in the conversations, or you've heard it more than once. Just pay attention to repetition and the things that I've talked about. All right, last question before I take some of you all's questions online. And this question comes from Alexandra Dolce. Alexandra Dolce, this is your question. She says, Mr. Braggs, how do you learn to believe? For example, if you want something and all you encounter are obstacles when you're trying to get it, how do you keep believing that it's for you? That's a really great question. I'm going to read it one more time so you can hear it. How do you learn to believe? For example, if you want something and all you encounter are obstacles when trying to get it, how do you keep believing that it's for you? So, two things I want to say about that is, three things. One, this is an ask and it's given universe. So if it's something you really want, the universe gives it to you. The universe is not withholding anything from you because the universe loves you. The universe loves you unconditionally. You are a part of God. You are literally God expressed in human form. You are that worthy and lovable and divine. And so the universe is not withholding anything from you. If you ask for it, it's given. The thing is, yes, what are your beliefs about, whether you can have that or experience that, but also where's your vibration? So what I'm really going to say, so one is, this is the ask and is given universe. All of your needs are met. All of your needs and desires are met, right? So the second thing is, are you in alignment with that desire? And so, and if it seems like obstacles are in the way, then you're trying to push. You're trying to make it happen instead of letting it happen. And you are a soul having a human experience, and the majority of your energy here is supposed to be on how to let things happen instead of how to try to make them happen. Making is a push and a force, and it usually comes from the belief that my needs are not going to be met, which we usually get that from our trauma or socialization when we're kids somehow. But it comes from the belief that all of my needs are not going to be met, so I have to make them be met. I have to be in control, and I have to force it. So number two, you got to surrender. You got to surrender. You've asked, let go of how you think it should happen, and let go of when you think it should happen. Just surrender it over to the universe. Literally trust that this universe loves you and that it's going to bring it, and it's going to bring it to you in a way that is going to be beneficial to you and in a time that's going to be beneficial for you. Just relax and trust. Relax and trust, and stop trying to force. The third thing I would say, once you understand that this is an ask and giving universe, and you surrender it over to the universe, right? You surrender how it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen. Just literally say, if this is, I give it to you. You know best. And also you may know better than I do. There may be something even better than this that's in store for me. And I just surrender and I let go of whether this manifests for me or not. And I'm going to be enough whether this manifests for me or not. I'm going to be enough. I'm not going to feel less than. I'm not going to feel like my life is missing anything. If this doesn't come. Like, that is a powerful energy to be in. To be in the energy that I am enough, whether my desire manifests for me or not, literally opens it up. It literally opens it up to receive. The other portion of this is getting in alignment with, so remember I said all of your needs are met. So how would you feel right now if that was met already? If that desire had already manifested for you? How would you feel? Not if it was coming, if you knew it was coming, but that it had already come. It's already here, right? So if I don't know exactly what the desire is, because you didn't say that in your question, but let's say you wanted a new car. How would you feel if that car was in the driveway and you were driving that car and you were getting ready to get in that car to go get some groceries today? How would you feel? Literally, how would you emotionally feel? How would it feel physically in your body? What sensations would you feel in your body? Spend some time, about 5 minutes a day, 3 to 5 minutes a day. Set a timer, sit down, close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes, but closing your eyes really works well. Close your eyes and imagine this need, this desire is already fulfilled. It's already fulfilled for me. It's already here. It's happened. What am I doing in my life? How do I feel? How am I interacting? What am I, one of the things I did when I manifested my dream car a few years ago, was I literally sat down for 3 to 5 minutes a day and I imagined myself pulling that car in my driveway. Like pulling up, out after a day's work or going to the gym and work out, pulling into the driveway. I imagine myself holding those keys. I imagine what it felt like. I could see the keys and the insignia on my keys. I could see myself putting the keys like on my dresser and how that felt. I could see, me being excited to be in the leather seats. I felt it all. I felt what it was like, not just trying to get the car, but how it was here now. And I began to behave in my life. So this is the last aspect of this. Feel what it feels like to have that already fulfilled. Then how can you be in service every day to feeling more like that? How can you be in service to feeling more? This is being in service to the emotional state of being that you want, because no matter what we want, we really want it because we believe it's going to make us feel some type of way. Whether that's a lover or a car or money or a healing in the body, whatever that is, you want that because you think it's going to make you feel some type of way. So the key that we're not really taught in our society is to feel the feeling first. It has to feel good before it can be good to you. It has to feel good before it can be good. So you got to feel the good feelings and hold that in your vibration before that can show up, right? So that's what you do. Just that whole thing that I just gave you, do that and feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled, right? Feel it and be in service to that feeling every day. Get a piece of paper down, just like a piece of paper, just like this every morning. What can I do to feel like this? If it makes you feel, let's go back for me because it was a car. That car made me feel sexy. It made me feel a sense of relief because my old car had died. So I was borrowing a family member's car and I just didn't feel comfortable like that. So I wanted to feel relief. It made me feel independent and free because I could get around on my own. It made me feel adventurous because I could drive around, the country and see different spaces. And so I had to foster those feelings daily. Like, how could I feel that more and hold that more every day? Do that and you'll manifest it. It will come for you. And again, it may not be the exact thing that you're holding. It will be something, it may be something better, but it will give you it will be the essence of what you want. It will be the essence. So it will make you feel like how you want to feel. It may not look like what you thought it was going to look like, and it may not have come through the channel that you thought it's going to come through, but it will make you feel like what you want to feel like. If that's joy, if that's happiness, if that's healthy, whatever that is, it will come and it will make you feel and it will match and you will be glad that it did. So that's how you do that. All right, so let me take some of you all's questions here. I got a few more minutes to see. So I'm going to scroll here because I know some of you asked questions. Says, yes, please, I need help to heal. I am applying the appreciation from the video you posted. Need help letting go of fear and anxiety. Okay, so fear and anxiety are really just stories we're telling ourselves, right? And so that's kind of what happens when we get traumatized. We start to build a story, and the story says, I'm not safe in this world somehow, and I'm not enough somehow. And it's not safe to be myself. So I got things I need to worry about or protect from or whatever. So, how you let go of fear is, one, you stop trying to, we have this belief that we need to fight our fear. We need to push it down. That fear is a part of you in that moment. And any part of you that you try to fight or you try to suppress or you try to reject, you are literally rejecting and suppressing and fighting a part of your being. And that cannot end well for you. We cannot be at war with ourselves and make peace. We can't. So in order to do that, you have to, one thing I tell people is, okay, say the fear out loud. Say it out loud with your mouth, like audibly. I'm afraid of this, right? I'm worried about this. And then right after that, say, thank you. I hear you. Now, what do I know is the truth? And the truth is going to be the exact opposite of that fear. Whatever that fear is, it's the exact opposite of that. So I'm afraid I'm unattractive, or I'm afraid that I'm not going to have enough money, or I'm afraid, whatever that is. So the exact opposite is I am wholly beautiful and sexy and desirable just as I am, right? The exact opposite of that is I am connected to an unlimited amount of abundance and all of my needs are met, right? So you say that out loud. You say the truth out loud. And then you say to yourself, I am willing to focus more on the truth now. I am willing to focus more on the truth. And I am going to look for, okay, so here's what you say. I am willing to focus more on the truth. And I am going to look for evidence of this truth in my life now. And this is after you've said the lie, which is basically the fear. The fear is a lie you've been made to believe. Then you say what the truth is, which is the opposite of the fear. And you say, I'm willing to believe the truth now. And I'm going to look for evidence of this truth in my life. You've got to go throughout your day with your eyes wide open And you're literally asking the universe to show you evidence of this truth, not just in this day, but you've got to shift this. It usually takes about 21 days for our beliefs to shift. So literally for 21 days, every day, I'm looking for evidence of this truth. And that's the truth that came out when whatever the opposite was with the lie. Write it down on a piece of paper. And every day in the morning, I am looking for evidence in my life today of this truth. And watch. And when you see evidence, even if it's in the smallest little thing, right? You see evidence of it. So, you see, all of my needs are met. So you look at your house and you see, oh my God, all of my bills are paid for this month. Write that down in the journal and say thank you. If you're wanting to feel beautiful and sexy and lovable just as you are, if somebody compliments you today, they might just say, oh my God, you have a beautiful smile. Write that down in a journal. And because the more you begin to focus, so this is the law of attraction in action as well. Whatever you focus on must expand. So if you begin to focus on the evidence of the truth and you're not so much focused on the evidence of the fear, the truth begins to expand and expands out in your life to where that's all you see. And then your belief system has changed. So try that. Try that simple exercise. It's very simple, but it's very profound if you actually do it. Try that, and that will shift your fear and anxiety. As well as do what if it's about healing, one thing that we have anxiety and fear around healing is also when we're doing things that we don't fully believe in, it's going to help us heal. Don't do anything you don't believe in. Don't do absolutely anything that you do not believe in is going to help you heal, or that you feel it is helping you heal, or that you feel is healthy for you. That includes working with a doctor or a medical team, right? If that's the route you're choosing, right? If you choose to go the medical route, work with a team of doctors that you believe in, that you feel empowered with, and that you feel safe with. If you're not, and you're going other modalities, whatever the modality is, you have to fully believe in it. You have to believe that this is good for me. This is helping me heal. Try that as well. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next question. Grieving while still handling responsibilities necessary to survive is exhausting. So here's the thing. You've got to, so you have to, when we're grieving and we have things like responsibilities, you may be caring for a loved one who is sick. You may have children that you have to care for, or family members. You may have something else in your life that's requiring your energy. So whatever that particular space is, whatever that is, that feels draining to you. So exhausting, another word for exhausting is just draining, right? So whatever is draining for you, what's highly important at this time is that you have not just an equal, but really, really more than, but at least an equal level of things that charge you. You cannot have a height of things that drain you and only a small part of things that charge you and stay well. And to stay well in your consciousness or stay well in your body. Or in your life, you cannot. So you've got to raise the things that charge you. And it could be like the things we talked about earlier. It could be something like meditating. It'd be something like walking in nature. It could be something like being with your friends for a bit and laughing and talking on the phone, or spending the night at your friend's house. It could be exercising. It could be taking a trip. Whatever charges your energy, whatever makes you feel alive and energized, whatever makes you feel happy and joyous, whatever you're passionate about, you've got to increase that in your life. So at least if you have these things that are draining you, you have a balance so that you're not a depleted being. And that is how you will have space for your grieving, because you have to grieve, you have responsibilities, but at the same time, you still need to have a deposit of life force energy in your body. Those particular things may drain life force energy from you. And so whatever level of that is happening, you have to have another level of things that charge life force energy through you. So what brings you joy? What do you enjoy? What makes you feel relaxed or safe? How can you implement more of that? For me, that's talking with my friends, it's walking by the water, it's going for a swim. It's travel really does that for me too. So when I'm feeling depleted and drained, those are my go-tos that bring my energy back So you got to do some of those things, and you've got to do them, and you have to be diligent about them, and you got to say no more, right? So that's a lot of times too, people in this field, not just in this field, who work in this field, I'm talking about who are attracted to the message of spirituality and healing and metaphysics. A lot of times we're people pleasers, and we will say yes to a lot of things we really want to say no to. And we will take on more than what our energy really can hold and what our well-being can actually allow. So look at what you really need to say no to. What do you need to let go? Who do you need to say no to? What are some things that you're engaging in that you really need to opt out of? And do some of that. Let some of the things go. Take some of the things off of your plate, and begin to put things that are on your plate that actually charge you instead of drain you. All right. Let's see if there's any other question. I have time for maybe one or two more questions. All right, you all. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to give you maybe 10 more seconds to put one more question in there. If I don't have any more questions, I'm going to close down and just go on. Just go on, but because I have to go. I'm taking my mom to the movies today, so that's something that charges me for today. So I have time for one more question. Countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I didn't see anything come in. Sorry if I missed your question and I just haven't visually seen it and you did put it in. I may respond to it in the next video. But until next time, you all, I love you. You have some really great questions. I hope this has helped you out a lot. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Until next time, be well, live well, and flourish deliciously. Bye.